Okay, so today's agenda, we've got some steps on how to win with listings. So the steps are on the slide. A, sellers. Who are they? Finding them. How do we identify them? Getting the appointment, what we're doing to secure the listing appointment. Talking about our pre-list packets, so things that we can do in advance before our appointment. Then the actual listing appointment, the listing agreement, and then we're going to do a recap. And this is going to be interactive. I don't see it lasting more than an hour, hour and a half.
For what?
This whole session.
Really?
Yep. But there will be some interactive parts to it. So I guess if we need to fill up some time, we'll do some more. But what were you thinking? 2 hours?
It's 9 to 11. Yep.
Okay. Wow. All right. So let's get started. All right. So first of all, let me go to the next slide deck. Okay. While leads are vital to your sales business, and you should be following along in your book. I don't have a copy of your book, but Karen will point out the pages. So while leads are vital to your sales business, seller listings are critical to your ability to build it to its highest level with the lowest costs and the highest net. So who wants to talk about that? Why do we love listings? Yes.
Don't you get a higher percentage of the commission?
I think we do. As we prepare for business planning, and we were looking back at all of our deals in 2022, listings are getting almost 1% more in some cases, depending on what you offer the buyer's agent. So yeah, you usually make more money. What else? Hi.
It's like free marketing sort of, because your name is out there.
Yeah, like we said, you look successful because you've got a listing and you can build momentum off of that, and you can market yourself off of that, and people find you off of that because they're searching for the listing. It's syndicated to all the websites and your name's attached to it. So why else are listings critical?
If you leverage them properly, you should be able to pick up. I think the expectation is 2 buyers per listing.
Yep, and one more listing possibly too. So listings have babies. That means there's more opportunity to get more listings and also buyers. So for those of you that have been in the industry for less than 2 years, being a listing agent might be a little daunting and overwhelming, but I can tell you, as this market has changed and the market has softened, there's going to be things that you can do that actually set you apart, and anybody can be a great listing agent. There may have been agents in the last 2 years that just started the business and just listed properties because they just did, and it was easy, and they sold. They didn't have to really do very much because the listing sold itself. But if you make a intention that you want to become a listing agent, I promise you everything else in real estate is going to blow up. So personally, I was a buyer's agent from 2005 to 2011, and I did not do listings. And that was because the listing market was really, really tough. For those of you that do know the market, 2005 and on, it was starting to slip. It was a good market in 2005. It was probably similar to the market of 2021 and 2022, but I would say that market was a bit on steroids. But that market in 2005, 2006 was good. High prices, lack of inventory. So a little bit of what we've been seeing. And then it slowly tanked. It took a while, but then when it went down, it went down. So it was not a very delightful thing when you were a listing agent because your sellers were pretty upset with the results. Very few showings. I mean, you had to offer some nice commissions to buyers agents to even write an offer on the house. You know, these things such as bonuses that we haven't seen for the last couple of years. I'm sure we'll see those buyer broker agent bonuses again. And I think we'll see commissions go up again. So for those of us that have been seeing commissions at 2% or 2.5%, I think they'll be going back up a little bit because it's going to be harder for a listing to sell. And we're going to, as listing agents, want to advertise to all buyers and all buyer brokers to come along and show the listing. So better commissions will help. All right, so we talked about the agenda. Let's talk about the 3 L's of the MREA. So we all know about listings, leverage, and leads are basically the center of our business, right? So the listings are the biggest and most important part of our triangle. because that's where you're actually making money, selling homes, getting yourself into a position where you become successful and the momentum builds off of it. Once you have a listing, you can probably start to have a lot of business off of it.
We're on 15.3.
Okay, so the virtues of seller listings. And this is page
15.4.
15.4. So seller listings mean marketing opportunities. What does that mean? What can you do marketing opportunities if you have a listing? You can do an open house. One of the cheapest ways to attract more clients and get more customers is to do an open house. Yeah, that's great. What else? What other marketing opportunities do you have because you have a listing?
I mean, your name is automatically populated in the MLS and the home snap app and a bunch of other, Zillow and all of that.
So for agents, you appear successful because you have a listing. As it syndicates to other websites, some of them will keep your name, some of them won't. That's another reason why getting your name out with a listing is important. But what else can you do? What else is big out there?
Social media.
Yes. What are you doing with social media? What can you do when you have a listing? Talk about it, right? You can do a video, you can do a walkthrough, you can do a TikTok, you can do a reel, whatever it is that you do. Again, put it out on social media because then you're looking successful. Okay, number 2, you have more control of your time. Who agrees with that? Why? Why do you agree with that?
You
Karen?
set the appointment as far as when you're gonna meet with the seller. You're not actively showing that house, or when you're working with a buyer, you're constantly on the buyer's time versus with a listing, you market it and you control where you're marketing and all those activities versus the buyer you don't.
Yeah. And in the past market, I would say if a listing took 10 hours, a buyer might have taken you for 40 hours, maybe even longer with the amount of homes you showed and the amount of offers you wrote. So yes, usually you have more time and more control of your time. However, there might be more to do, right? When you're in a environment where everybody wants a listing, it's a competitive environment. So there might be more things that you have to do, or show the way that you can show your seller that you're the right agent for them. So being able to present what the value proposition is of working with you, or being able to present what are the things that you or your company do that sets you apart. You may have less control of your time if the listing sits, and then you have to think about the work that you need to do to keep that communication open, keep it top of mind for buyers and other agents, and to kind of keep your seller in a good spot, depending on the expectations conversation you had when you listed it. Seller listings maximize your per hour compensation. I think we've pretty much gone over that because you do typically make more money with listings. Typically, however, you also run the risk of taking a listing that doesn't sell, and do you ever get paid? No. It's par for the course, isn't it? We do work for free. We might do that more with buyers if we're not signing a buyer broker agreement. We might do it with sellers if we're not having good conversations around expectations. Those are really important in today's market. Volume, volume, volume. What does that mean? Does it mean shout? What does that mean?
Amount of income, right?
Yeah, everything, leads, opportunities, more listings, more buyers. With seller listings, you are on the front end of pricing. What does that one mean to you? I'm curious.
We're making a recommendation for the listing price.
Yeah. We really, really know that market well, right? Because when we are at our listing presentation, we need to be able to decide with the sellers on board if this is the right price and if we can work together at the price that they and we decide is good for the market. So yeah, you really do know your stuff. Isn't that the greatest part about doing a listing appointment? You do it in Richmond Heights, you go in and you know everything, all about the neighborhoods, all about the market, and you come away and for one day you're the expert, because then everything changes tomorrow. Properly marketed seller listings bring you more business. What's the key words in there? Yeah, it also could bring you less business if it's not properly marketed. And again, that's kind of not a fair statement, because houses were selling themselves in the market and people they were either leaving photos out or doing them on a cell phone. Cringe, not great, but it still sold. You can't get away with that stuff now, because people are going to be looking and watching why their house didn't sell in 7 days, because their neighbors did 3 months ago and they sold over asking and they got 18 offers and it's been 7 days. And what didn't you do, or what aren't you doing today? So you have to really make sure that what you're providing for the seller, you're communicating it well and you're doing it at a really high level, the best you possibly can.
I have a really good example of that, Chair.
Yes, I love that.
Properly marketed sellers bring you more business. I got a call from somebody that said, did you see the pictures on that listing that I sent them? And I said, yes, why? And they said, well, that house is in my neighborhood and you need to report that realtor because, you need to report that realtor because it looks terrible.
Oh dear.
Well, you know, the realtor absolutely told them to clean up the house. The pictures were fine. They were professionally taken, but there was crap everywhere. There was stuff everywhere in that house. And they blamed the realtor for that. So we have to be
Oh,
really careful about what we put out there.
yeah, we do, because that's your reputation, that's your brand. And there was a certain realtor that I remember, she always got the cute listings. I'm like, you always have great, cute listings. Like they always were the updated, renovated, perfect ones. And then, you know, when I started to be a listing agent, we got some pretty ugly listings. And so then you have to work even harder on that great first impression. And there are certain cities where it doesn't matter what the house looks like, it just sells itself. But I would not rest on those laurels. Make every one of them look the very, very best and work with your sellers up front for them to get the highest amount of money, because clutter is going to cut into equity and they only have one chance to make a great first impression. So it better be a really, really good one. All right, so the seller service cycle that we are going to go over is from 1 to 7. And it starts with the leads and the conversion, then the pre-list, I think I've said this, then the listing consultation, the servicing and marketing, the offers and negotiating, the contract to close, and post-close systems. So right there are a lot of steps for you to have a system or some model around to be able to do this for your sellers. And the better you do with them and the happier they are with the results and you getting a good review, the more you can repeat it and then obviously do better where you find your gaps. Those of you that know Jeff Glover, some of his training that he's done, he's a top agent in Michigan. He does a ton of free stuff. So if you guys ever want free stuff, Jeff Glover's, it's just gloveru.com, right? He has tons and tons of free resources. When he first started to really build out his training, his coaching, and what he's doing, he talked about there are something like 74 gaps from a I want to list my house to the day that I get my keys or the buyer gets the keys. There are 74 things that can go wrong. And it's you have to just over the top always find the gaps that could happen and fill them, and think about the questions that keep coming up and have them ready before those questions appear. So it becomes like a race for you to never let that phone ring with your client asking you what's going on, I don't know what's happening, or asking you a question that you know over and over again every client's going to ask you. So the more you do listings, the better you're going to get with filling the gaps. And the better the experience will be for your clients. And then, of course, you're going to get repeat referral. You know, people are going to love you and you'll get more listings. Comes full circle. Wow, what ahas on that section, guys. Let's have some ahas. We need to fill this time. Yes,
Clutter cuts into equity and.
it does. It does. Sometimes people, you can look at their house and you can say, you know, I'll be honest with you. If you put a little bit of money here and that costs $2,000-3,000, it might net you in $20,000 more. And when you know that, because you've really done your research on the market, that's something that you can say with confidence, and they're probably going to listen to you because you're the expert and they hired you so they could get more money. For most people, they're looking to get the most amount of money. Not always, but that's usually the case. They want to get as much money in their pocket. So the preparation and helping them with it is important. What other ahas? I love that there's only 7 steps. Like I said, there's probably about 80, but really, truly, they all become part of your model and your system. Any other ahas until we move to the next section? Okay, so let's talk about A, qualified sellers. What page are we on? Okay, A, sellers, it qualifies, or Ignite says A, are able, ready, and willing to do business in the next 14 days. Who agrees with that?
I would slow that out to maybe the next couple of months. I think 14
Yeah.
days is an unrealistic time frame.
Jalise says 90. I would say an A buyer, or excuse me, an A seller is anything from 0 to 45 days. And yeah, I would add some time. Yeah. And then let's talk about how to find those qualified sellers and how to identify them. So where do you think we're finding your A sellers in today's market? Things are changing. So I changed this up a little bit. So if you don't see the exact wording, it means I went ahead and put my little spin on it, just because the market is changing. So where are you finding your A sellers? Open houses and circle prospecting. Who agrees with me? Why are sellers there, Janice? They do.
Want to see what, what they want to know, what this house sells for, so they know what they can do out here, what updates they've done, maybe they haven't done it.
They are, and they are sometimes your best visitors to walk through the door. Ben Kinney, who I'm on the Ben Kinney team at Place, he'll say the open house script is when they walk through the door, do this.
They can't see you.
Can you come and do it with me?
Oh, sure.
So in comes Karen. Oh,
Can you-
hi.
We have to sit down because they can't see us.
Oh, I'm just gonna do. Hi, Karen. I'm
Hi.
Amanda Pullman, and you. Oh, I said Karen.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Amanda Pullman, and you are
Karen Hillman.
Karen. Well, you should say Karen.
Karen
Karen.
Hillman.
Nice to meet you, Karen. You know, what we find with open houses is there are 2 types of people that come. One, you're a buyer and you're looking to see if this is the right house for you. And number 2 is you could be a seller. So which one of these are you?
Nice.
All right. So buyers and sellers are coming in, and there are more sellers than ever that are looking at you and interviewing you like they are watching you. What's that? I think that show is called The Watcher with the real estate agent. Oh my goodness. Don't do what she did when they walked into the house. For those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, it's okay. Where the realtor was showing the house and she just totally ignored the most interested buyers. Don't do that. The days of you feeling like you don't need to talk to people as they come in or ignore them are over, guys. Don't do that. That looks really bad. Do the hello, I'm Amanda, you are Sarah. Nice to meet you, Sarah. And then find out what their intention is, and then have them sign in, ask them if they're working with an agent, and tell them that you're there to help them, anything that you need to know about the house. take your time, ask me questions.
So repeat that one more time. So there are two types of people that come to open houses.
Yes, so what we find is when people visit open houses, there's two types of people that come. One, you're a buyer and you're interested in a house like this, or number two, you're a seller. Which one of those are you? And it's usually a buyer, or I live in the neighborhood, I'm just looking, or yeah, potentially I might sell. I heard the market's great. So then you know kind of who to hover around and really dig in with some questions, because asking good questions and getting rapport very, very quickly is the most important thing. The worst thing we do with open houses is hover all over them and ask them, would you like me to show you around? And did you know it has 4 bedrooms and 3? They probably know that because they've probably seen it online. That's another question to ask, how did you see this open house? Was it just from the signs, or did your realtor or did a website, did you come in on one of them? And then again, you can find who you want to spend the time with and really connect, because there's usually within 4 people visiting, there's usually 1 that you can make a connection, put them in your database, and hopefully sell or buy a house with them. 1 in 4 is usually. Where else are A buyers? So I put, they are coming on internet leads. They're usually raising their hand, social media leads. And when I say internet leads, they can be things like HomeLight, Effective Agent. Those are just 2 of the big ones that seem to send seller leads. Social media leads, if you're doing any kind of advertising on Facebook or any social media around your listings, there are leads that come in when they click. And I know it does it through Command, right? And it does it also through Brivity, which I use. Those are great leads. Sometimes though, they're not as warm as an open house lead. Your connectivity to them to actually have a conversation, put them into your database is probably more like 1 in 20. Janice, I know you do Facebook ads. Do you agree with that 1 in 20? Speed, speed, speed. With a lot of these listing leads, it's all about speed. It's about connecting with the person that wants to know what the value of their home is. The number one thing that people want to know is, what is my house worth and what's going on in my neighborhood? So find a way to get them in your database and to give them that information.
And call them as quickly as you get that information. As soon as that information comes in, we've got to call them.
Yeah, 15 minutes tops. If you haven't connected with a lead within 15 minutes, especially seller leads, you're probably too late, because they've probably heard from 20 other realtors that also got that lead. So another thing to think about with those kinds of leads is make sure that you put them into your drip, drip on them. In other words, give them the information, what that house is worth, offer to do a CMA, and keep on calling them 7 times until they pick up. And a lot of the times they pick up in a week or so, because they don't want to answer the phone when the lead is first comes out, because everybody's calling them. They don't answer the phone. So you're probably going to get a kind of either ignored or somebody very rude. Whereas if you wait a week, you're probably not going to be in such a competitive environment for listing that house. Door knocking. Guys, you should be door knocking. You really should. No, ew. So we did this weekend. So we we sold a house. We're not a big door knocking team. We talk about it a lot. I would say putting it into action, we don't. Again, we have that fear. I think at the end of the day, we're all fearful. What are we fearful of door knocking? What's the worst thing that can happen? Wow. What else could happen? Don't think of really bad things.
But my biggest fear, and it's sad, but I got chased by a dog a couple months ago. I got lucky, I didn't get bitten, but I'm just telling, that is my.
That's a legitimate fear if you have a fear of dogs. I get that. Most of our fear is rejection. And let me tell you, they are very unlikely to reject you when you are at their door. Now, when you go to that door, this is that door, don't knock on the door. Make sure you take a step back. So when you're talking to them, you want to make sure that they feel like you're not in their face. Because the most awkward first thing is going to be them saying, can I help you? That's the most awkward because they think you're gonna sell them something, give them a pamphlet on something for religion or voting or something, right? And they're probably gonna be a bit defensive. But the best part of door knocking around something you just sold, something you're listing, or something that somebody else just sold, but you have a buyer. So you wrote an offer on my listing. I got multiple offers. You didn't win. What stops you from going into that neighborhood and saying, I have a problem? Basically, our script is, hi, I'm Amanda Pullman. I'm with Keller Williams, and I want to ask you to help me with a problem. We sold your neighbor's house too quickly, and we had 38 showings. We've got 5, 6 buyers that we know want a house in this neighborhood. Who do you know that might want to sell? Is it you? Okay. We did this on the weekend and they just gave us names. They just gave us everybody's names. They want to sell, they're going to move, they're doing that. We had from every neighbor, all the names of all the people, and every person was so happy to see us. Not one person said anything negative. 2 of them invited us in to see their homes. So 14. Sunday at 12 noon. Now, here's another thing, stinking thinking. We don't have good enough weather to door knock in Cleveland. Only Florida can do it. Yeah, you're right. Florida, Arizona, they can probably do it a lot more than we can, but we can still do it on nice days. We still have a lot of opportunity to go out there. Do it in groups. I think the biggest fear is, doing it on your own. That's not very fun. Do it in groups. Do it with 2 or 3 people. It's a lot of fun then. And take something with you that you can leave so that they can contact you, but get their information at the door, because you know their address, right? Because you saw that as you walked up. You can get their name because hello, I'm Amanda, and what's your name? Okay, Jill, super. You'll find out their last name because you look on the auditor. And then do your best to get contact info, especially when they're like, yep, we want to sell. Yep, okay, we think we're going to do it in the spring. Can I put you on a market update so you know what the value of your home is while you're preparing it? And I'd love to help you prepare it. So get emails, get phone numbers, put them in your database, and lo and behold, you'll stay in touch with them. And that's the most important thing. When they think of selling, they're going to see your name, your photo, your email, whatever it is that you sent to them. So door knocking is something that I think is going to be even better. And again, open house, free your time. Internet leads, social media leads, not free. And you're probably going to pay for them. Social media, probably very little. Internet leads, a lot. HomeLight just upped their referral fees to.
Is Mark having a different conversation with it? I see him doing a lot of talking. See, why don't you check, double check to make sure he can hear you.
How do I check that he's hearing me?
Just ask. Just say,
Hey, Mark, can you hear me?
okay.
Yes, we were just having a quick side conversation. Sorry.
I
Passing
hope it
notes
was
over
about
here.
door knocking.
It was. They were asking about if we're doing it in pairs, how do we figure it out? Who gets the deal, or how do we compensate one another? So we were just having a brief conversation about that.
Yeah, one of the ideas is you have flyers printed of all of you, and with all your, bit.ly codes or whatever, your QR codes. And then you just, one flyer to that house, one flyer to that house. And it's just, if you're working as a team, you're
Yep.
happy the other person got it and you'll get something out of it.
And
Never-
I was saying you could even pay an inside referral. Hey, we're doing this together, and if I happen to get it, I'm going to pay you a referral
Or
because we're doing
co-list.
this together.
Yeah,
Co-list it. There's a
Yeah.
lot of different ways to make it a win-win.
Yeah. Sorry, Karen was like, I think he's having another conversation. I thought maybe I lost my.
No, we can hear you. We're just
Okay.
those students.
Brilliant. Okay, so door knocking, sphere past clients, and always asking for referrals. We're getting ready for business planning tomorrow as our team, and I looked at every one of my team's sources for business in 2022. Overwhelmingly, whether they're a new agent or they've been in the business 17 years, the number 1 or 2 is always Sphere. So your sphere, your past clients and referrals from them, those are the most likely to find you the next seller. So what do you have to do with them? Stay in touch, ask. Somebody said ask for the referral. You know, the old favorite, I'm in a competition at my office. I need to get 5 more referrals by the end of the month. Who do you know that I should know who might want to sell? So always stay in touch with your sphere, your past clients, keep them on the drips. So they know what their house is worth. Even if they say they're never, ever going to leave, they should be on some sort of market report that knows and tells them what the value of their house is. Because if you're not telling them, Open Door is telling them. Who's had Open Door send them a letter, I want to buy your house? Me and Karen. So they must be into Chagrin Falls right now. They sent me a letter. They said, we want to buy your house. Fill this out. They have sent me 5 or 6 mailings now. And do we have Open Door in this area? Apparently they're coming, maybe.
Yes, we do.
Okay, we do.
Yes, they're in Montville Township, and
I
they've
have
already
never
purchased. Sorry,
Okay.
just jumping in here to conversation. They had recently this past year, not calendar year, but from today back, I believe they've purchased 4 houses,
Wow.
all of which are over $350,000 sales, and they all but one have been on the market for probably, I want to say on average 75 days or longer. So they've sat. They made a high initial offer, and I don't know the terms of the other 3, but the one that was a hopeful client or to be client, listing client of mine, had decided to go with them because of the circumstances of them not having to deal with, all the ups and downs of going through traditional methods. They just got a solid offer. They didn't have to worry about doing anything to the property. And I could have gone over countless objections to try to get them more money in pocket, but they just wanted the very passive type offer. And they felt confident about it. So I didn't press them too much. I pressed twice. I didn't press a third time. So, but yeah, certainly they're making offers here in Medina for sure.
So that's really good to know. Let's talk a little bit more about these instant offers. What happened to the Zillow instant offers? Yeah, so Janice said it went away because they were buying properties and they were paying too much for them. This model is going to stay. We're going to see, not Zillow's, but there are other companies doing it. We have some local companies that are really doing well with, these instant offer kind of programs. They are targeted to people that are not looking to net the most amount of money. It's usually convenience comes into play a lot. I did have a client who moved to Cleveland in the summer, who used Open Door to sell her house in Minnesota. The price they got was even more than the realtor could have got. The realtor that I sent over there said, you know what, I can't argue with that offer. It's probably better than you'll get on the open market, although on the open market, the momentum's going to bring it up and over asking, blah, blah, blah. And they did it for convenience. They could pick their own date and they got top dollar, but that's not going to last for a long. And if it's still happening, like my Open Door, I bought my house a year and a half ago for about $460. My Open Door office said it was between $380 and $440. So I kept them kind of on the hook, but I've got, remodel this and so they keep sending me, if you give us more information, we're going to up your offer. So they still haven't given me what the offer is, but I'm keeping them hanging on. And it's interesting to see how many times they're coming back to me. So if that company is doing that, which arguably doesn't do a lot in our area, although maybe starting to, you better be in your clients' emails. You better be on the end of the phone. You better be inviting them to events, giving them value, because otherwise there's lots of other people vying for your clients' listing. Agent referrals. Boy, are those nice. Any of you do agent referrals? Janice, I know. Karen. what is it about agent referrals that kind of you grab the A sellers and buyers? What do you think is the most important thing that you don't have to do when you're given a lead for a seller or a buyer referral?
Gain the trust. You've got the
No
trust.
competition.
I don't have to compete with
Thank you. It's both of those. You're usually handed the lead because Janice's referral partner in Virginia said, Janice is the girl. She's amazing. She already helped my client. So the trust is right there. And the competition, you're usually not interviewing against other agents, not all the time.
And it's a hot lead. It's
It's very hot.
It's less expensive than taking an up city lead
Right.
at 38% or whatever.
Right. Again, there is a cost involved. You're paying an agent referral. So those of you that are running a business and you're looking at your expenses and your cost of goods sold, so your cost of sales, you know, it costs you a little bit more. But as Ben Kinney says, you might as well have a part of a grape than nothing, a part of no watermelon or something like that. It's like, yeah, why not? At least, and then guess what you get from that? Listings have babies. You're probably going to get another listing. You're probably going to get another buyer, and you've probably got a client for life who's going to refer you to 3, 4, 5 more people. So it's so worth it. So these are what I feel like are A sellers. This is where they are right now. What do you guys think? Who do you think I may have missed in this kind of top 5 on where you're finding your A sellers? Anybody online also, if you want to jump, if you just want to jump in, just unmute yourself.
Those highly transitional neighborhoods, so neighborhoods that you might see that 2 or 3 homes have sold there, there's probably more.
Yeah, so circle prospecting and door knocking. Yeah. Yeah, you guys, things that sold, things that listed, and open houses you are having, which, you know, arguably you didn't have a lot of open houses in 2020 and 2021. So now we're having open houses again. So capitalize on them. They're brilliant. They make you look successful, especially when you show up and do a great job. Any other A sellers? Things that you can think of in this market where you can find those sellers, because you got to go after those sellers. Those are who are going to give you your money in the next 30, 60 days. That's your bank account is thanking you in advance for finding them now.
What about major life events?
How would you find those A sellers?
Well, I don't know, people that have children graduating from high school might be downsizing, if somebody's getting married, if there unfortunately is a death or something like that, that could be.
So having good relationships, like with referral relationships with attorneys, with
Yeah.
probate
Yep.
attorneys, with wedding planners.
Yeah, wedding planning, yeah.
That's a good one. I was thinking, graduations, I can't think, maybe put your cards, that's not a good one, but have relationships with a shop that sells a lot of graduation stuff. Tuxedo Junction.
Little parade makers.
Yes, thank you. Okay, how about that? The silly, easy thing, like keeping a sign in the yard, where because you sold a house and you asked the new seller or your buyer, the new homeowner, can I keep my sign in your yard that says sold by Janice? That's a great way to advertise yourself. And usually it's easy, it's an easy ask because the buyer's really happy because they love you, because you just got them a house. Great one,
Not every buyer is a first time home buyer.
right?
There's some buyers are.
Thank you. There are so many leads that come in for buyers. And one of the first questions you should be asking is, can I ask you a question? Do you have a home to sell or are you renting? And you'd be surprised at some of them saying, yeah, I do actually have a home to sell. Like they say something like 30% do. So more opportunities. Okay, to convert these A sellers, you've got to respond right away. I always say to my team, I'm like a dog with a bone when it comes to sellers, because I freaking love them. So I go after them, go hard. I don't give up. I want that lead. So it's speed to the lead. Sometimes being able to get the rapport very, very quickly and connecting with them. So if you're calling them, being able to, within the first 2 minutes, find something that you have that's a commonality with them. That's a lot of skill and kind of just understanding people, right? So, you know, think about the things that you can connect with. You know, for me, being English is so easy because they'll say, where are you from? And then, of course, they'll tell me, and my cousin is from England, and my husband's from England. And it's like, oh, wow, how lucky. So think of other things that you're going to connect, whether it's through animals or babies or colleges, or I'm looking at Janice, sorority sister. Like, you think of things that you can do, because the whole goal is to have that rapport. Because if you're gaining the rapport and then you're identifying yourself as someone who says they're going to do what they're going to do, which is be a promise keeper, and that usually is dropping off a pre-list, showing up for the appointment, asking lots of questions, they're really going to like and trust you even before you show up at their door and they see you face to face. Get valid and complete contact information, save it to command and create an opportunity. Determine their motivation to sell so you can speak to it. Use a pre-qualification script and questionnaire. So I think what this means is having a good questionnaire and a good script when you make that initial call to them. Sometimes the call is, hi, Janice, I saw your lead come through and it looks like you have a home to sell at 123 Main Street. Is this a good time for us to connect? Because I'd love to have a conversation about, you know, what you're looking for. And Janice might say, no, it's not. So you're saying, well, this is my call to ask you what's a good time so we can set something up. I love doing Zooms because then I feel like face-to-face and being on Zoom kind of really cements that connectivity. But not everybody's going to want to do a Zoom. Then make the appointment for that time that you're going to have 10, 15 minutes on the phone with them. And the questionnaire and the pre-qualification script is very, very important. What kind of clues can you get when you're asking a seller to tell them a little bit about their house?
But you can learn their personality,
Yes, you can.
how they start. So you know what kind of person.
Yeah, Janice, I've put $45,000 into my house in the last 6 years, updated it with the best hardy plank, nature stone. And I know that my house is going to, you know, have appreciated at least 10% every, I mean, what kind of person is that? See, and numbers, and wants to know all of the comps and wants to know what's been going on in the market. What about the person that's like, oh, I've got the best house because I put in this amazing red carpet and it matches these beautiful turquoise walls and an interior designer did it. And it looks so nice because it's like you're looking out onto the sea and the ocean every morning that you wake up. And you better be prepared for more than 10 or 15 minutes with that person. Yeah, you might not get what they really did to the house. You know, what about the person that's like, kitchen was updated in 2023. I did the bathrooms in 2016. I need to put a new furnace in, but I get it serviced every 3 days. And they're just like, they just want to give you the details. That's a really nice thing for an agent to be able to write down, because if you're writing them in the notes and then you're going to the house, you're saying, oh my gosh, that furnace looks great that you just put in April. I love the nature stone that you did when you redid the basement. You know, remember those things. Ask for names of their pets and their kids and their husbands and wives and partners, please, so that you know who you're talking about when you're kind of revising quickly on everybody's names. How many of you have gone up to your listing and you don't even know the seller's name? How many times I've had to look at the tax record and go, okay, Sarah and Michael. Okay, so hi. Don't do that. Be really well prepared, especially in this market. I feel like you need to be super well prepared.
Amanda, we looked at a pre-listing questionnaire in session 13.
Okay,
So on page 13.9, there's some really good questions.
you want to read them?
Asked to get to know. No, I just wanted to
Okay,
remind people that that's on page 13.9.
nice. 13.9. Okay, set an appointment, the time and the date for as soon as possible and drop off a pre-list packet. So the more efficient and techie you are, as well as doing what you say you would do, the more people are going to trust you and feel confident and comfortable with you. So if I get that listing appointment, I talk to Janice. Janice says it's not a good time, but she'll talk to me on Sunday morning at 11 o'clock. I'm going to put an appointment into my CRM, put it into the calendar that says Janice and Amanda for half an hour will have a pre-listing discussion. If I'm going to their house, again, I'm putting that appointment in, and that's an easy and quick way to get their email, just in case you don't have their email. I feel like a lot of our leads come in with emails, but once in a while, like the agent referral, they may call you and say, Janice told me to call you. I hear you're the agent, and I've got a house to sell in Solon. When can we talk about it? So you want to get their email so that you're kind of cementing the fact that you are professional and you're giving them email appointments. I think more than ever, that's one of the most important things to do. Pre-listing packets. So you're having the conversation, you're getting as much information as you can get, having a questionnaire filled out and going through the questions until you kind of know them off by heart is a really good practice for buyers and for sellers, so that you don't miss some of the details. And then a pre-list packet. So who here uses a pre-list packet?
I use one, but I don't send it ahead of time.
Oh, tell me more.
I go through it with them over the phone. I do send them the residential property disclosure. But
For a
not
buyer or for a seller?
For a seller.
Oh, you do, to fill it out,
Mhm.
to help them fill it out?
Mhm.
Okay, that's nice. So Karen's model is, yours is different from mine. The
Right.
great thing is we're all gonna have different models. I have liked a pre-list because, let's just make sure I'm not gonna. Oh, we're at get the appointment. So that was a lot about talking about getting the appointment.
Yeah.
That was a lot of where you find them, who are the motivated. Sorry, let me quickly recap this. What sellers most want from their agent page.
Oh, 15.6 still.
So I'm still in,
Yep.
okay. So apparently sellers, 27% of sellers, and I don't know what this is from, profile of home buyers and sellers from NAR in 2021. 27% of sellers want help pricing the home. 20%.
No, others, 27%.
All right, somebody else read this because I can't figure it out.
Help price the home competitively.
21%, right?
21, yeah.
So it's going.
And then what's the green?
Help the seller market. The home is 20%.
So 20% are looking for great marketing.
16%.
Want to help selling the home within a specific time
Yeah.
frame.
16%.
Okay. Helping to prepare the home for sale, and then other. Okay, all right, I'll take it. But what's the most important thing for today's sellers in today's market? I haven't got to that pre-list yet, so I'm still moving forward. The most important thing, just make sure. I feel like I've skipped something. Yeah, but I feel like I've skipped relisting.
You're going forward again.
Yeah, it won't go backwards. It's only going forwards. Okay, sorry, guys. Let me try this again.
You're going backwards. That's it.
Okay, so pre-list. I don't want that. I'm going on the pre-list. Okay, so pre-list. So I have a pre-list packet, and the goal of a pre-list packet, and I will share mine with you. We can pass it all around. You can all take a look. I've always shared my pre-list with everybody, and now I notice a lot of realtors use my same realtor checklist. I'm like, okay, it must be good because they copied it, which is cool. So the pre-list packet is to basically pre-sell, is to build the seller's confidence, answer their questions and objections before your presentation. Who agrees with that? I don't, because I don't think you can possibly answer all their questions and objections before your presentation, but you can pre-sell them by giving them some information on the home selling process, by offering to help them, by giving them residential property disclosures and saying, this is something that I can guide you, not fill in for you, but guide you with. But also you're selling yourself, so you need to have something that shows your success or your track record. You're also looking to save time. This is important because if they don't know you and they've never heard of you, a pre-list is going to be really good if you can kind of put a resume inside or something about you or your team so that they know that going into the appointment who you are. So they're not asking you lots of questions about you because it's not about you. Very rarely is it you walking in and saying, I'm this, I'm that, I do this. It's more that you want them to feel comfortable with you by having kind of given your resume and for them to find out what's in it for them, because it's them. You're talking about them. It's all about the seller. Stating your value, telling the seller what you bring. So I am going to pass around, for those of you that are on camera, we do our review of our previous year and you can't see it, but it's basically all the statistics on where we
Amanda,
sell.
could you do a quick stop share so then we could see you bigger?
100%, yeah. But can you see this? I think I've got a virtual background.
Yeah, if you could hold it up close, that's good. Thanks.
So this was just like something done on Canva. We started doing it about 5 years ago. And again, I watched every real estate team copy it and put different backgrounds. But this is something that we put out that every year that says this is what our statistics are. You know, how many homes we sold, what our list, no, this one doesn't have list to sell, what cities we sell in, you know, how many homes we actually listed. Again, you can put anything in there. A resume is perfectly fine. Don't be overwhelmed by this. I've been in the business 17 years, so I've got a lot of stuff to share. A resume or what you've done or testimonials from your clients that love you. Something easy like that, again, shows your value and shows who you are.
Somebody's asking you to hold it up again. The question, if you're a brand new agent, can you put your market center statistics in there?
100%.
There you go.
Use your market center. All right, I'll pass this around. Little testimonials page, again, you know, things that people are saying about you. This is just some testimonials. This is quite outdated. This is a little bit of like, we get the results because we were featured in a magazine. So that's kind of cool because it's got a lot about me, Laura, and Megan. So we use this from 2 years ago. And then this is the thing that everybody copies. So it's called the Realtor Checklist. It's almost designed to go, okay, if you're interviewing other realtors, these are some of the questions you need to ask them. And you've checked off everything that you do. So Janice's will be completely different because there may be things that she does really, really well. So she's going to highlight the things she does. So some of the things that we talk about is the cities that we are top in, and that's because Zillow can rate you per city. So we check and keep that kind of going to see if we're in the top 5 in different cities. So some of you are going to be like, well, that doesn't apply to me. Okay, don't use it. You don't need to. What do you do as far as the professional people that you have on your team? So we talk about a professional photographer. We have Matterport video. We have drones. We do floor plans. Even that's something that can set you apart. Professional stager on the team. So if any of you are stagers or you are home designers, make sure that you talk about what your designations are. This is easy. Strategic social media across all popular platforms. Hey, I'm not social media-ish compared to, you know, a lot of really great agents out there that do tons of stuff on TikTok, but hey, do we hit all the platforms? Yeah. Because social media is important. And as you're talking to your prospective sellers, you need to understand and have words to be able to talk about what organic marketing means, because that's social media, organic marketing. Average days on market, know your statistics. So what is your average days on market? If you look at the houses that you listed, how long did they take to sell? That's something you want to put out there because it's going to be really good. All of you that had a listing this year, whether it's 1 or 20, it's probably going to be really good. It's probably going to be close to 100% of listing value. So your list to sell ratio, which we also put on this, is high, and your average days on market is probably less than a week. And then Zillow reviews. And then because we have Graham Pritchard on our team, he is our concierge. So that kind of is our little, sets us apart because we have a concierge. So, oh, Graham does everything. He's a listing concierge and a buyer's concierge, but that means that he helps our buyers and sellers with all sorts of things. Walking the dog, picking up a sign, unfreezing a lockbox. There's a lot of different things that you can have, but you don't need a concierge. What is it that you do differently? What are you so good at? Put it on your realtor checklist.
I think this is a good place to take a break and let everybody start brainstorming some things that you could put on your own realtor checklist that gives you the opportunity to highlight what you're really good at.
We're going to have an aha moment where we're all going to talk about what are some of the things you're really good at that you can put on your realtor checklist to set yourself apart. What's your unique selling proposition?
All right, so we'll take, let's take 5 minutes. We'll take 5 minutes. So are you able to mute us? Looks like yes. Okay, I want to be able to include the people that are on Zoom in this conversation. So let's write them on the board. Amanda, do you want to write down the ideas? We'll just shoot them out and write them. And then if you're on Zoom, please go ahead and unmute. Everybody else has got their television sound muted or computer, I hope.
All right. So what's on your, I'm going to call it like your unique proposition, right?
What's on your realtor checklist? What are the things that you can say that you do that make your offering unique?
Janine, you have something? What is it?
No, I'm not. But I had to give it to you.
I won't put that down. You are not a handyman for your client.
No. Professional photo.
Yeah.
Professional photography, good one. What else? We mentioned reviews, right? You're asking for reviews, use your reviews. If you're brand new, how many homes has your market center sold? Maybe in that neighborhood even specifically.
Market center stats matter.
And you have resources, like you have electrician,
You have resources.
Like your Janice's list, not Angie's list, Janice's list.
Yeah.
The resource.
Right. Barb's list of vendors and contractors to help you with whatever you might need.
You have an admin on our team.
Yes, so
And-
behind the scenes, you've got a professional staff. And then you can say what they
Professional
do.
staff,
Whether it's advertising or marketing.
right?
Or,
Marketing across all social media channels, right?
yes.
What else? What would you put on your realtor checklist?
Here's what I found.
What did you find? Market center stats, yeah, use your market. I always say about pay as you living. I say to those of you that are newer to our office, we have an extraordinary amount of listings in our office that come through. What does that mean? It means it puts us on the map because there's a lot of listings that are listed by us. It means then we have more listing opportunities, more buyer opportunities. We've always been like that. We're in a great zip code. That's another thing, really capitalize on the counties you serve. Because if you live right here in Solon Twinsburg, odds are you work in 3 or 4 counties. Right? Because they all come up. As soon as you drive into Twinsburg, you're in another one.
Danielle says that, aside from being on a great team, I put my personal mission statement that at the end of every transaction, I donate a portion of my commission to the local ASPCA.
That's wonderful.
And she
Love
takes,
that.
and she takes her dog, door knocking with her.
I love that. And where can we find our market center stats, Karen?
RPR, that's where I find them from. Oh, our market center stats. You can go to our MCA also.
What does it say? It is disappearing. Can you go up to that comment? Can you hold that up? Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was back. Yeah.
What else?
I have a question for you actually, about your marketing strategy. How much does it cost to make that?
The realtor checklist?
Or like, just like the packet itself, like for.
So I buy the folders and those,
Okay, we'll wrap it up after this.
you can have cheaper ones, that you can also make them really nice and specific to you. And then the printing stuff is all off Canva, where you've made it off Canva. And then you update it every year and then print it on some sort of glossy paper or give it to Kinko's or Office Max so that they can help you. Not very expensive.
Something else that I was from here, that I have a database of agents who have buyers in this area.
Oh, yeah. I have a database of agents who all have buyers looking in this area. I love that. That's a good one.
That is a very good one.
Okay, we've got to come back to our,
All right, that was a nice timeout. All right, guys, let's keep going. I will share my screen. Okay, give me a thumbs up, all of you online, if you can see my screen. Thanks, Jennifer. All right, pre-listing, the goals, the pre-listing packets goals. I think we already did this, didn't we? Yeah, we already did that. So let me go to the next one. Okay, pre-listing packet criteria. Will you review it in the listing presentation? Does it eliminate the need for listing consultation? Number 3, is it a primer for education you will provide at the listing consultation? So which one is it?
yeah.
I don't think it eliminates the need.
For a listing consultation.
Do you review it? Yes, I think you should review it, even just asking them permission based. Like, is that, as I left the pre-listing packet, did you get it? Yes, we did. Did you have any questions? Was there anything in there that, we need to go over? And most of the time they're saying, no, we read it. It's great. We don't have any more questions.
Do you always do a previous text, or do you drop it off all the time for your?
Pretty much, yeah.
You drop it off?
So another idea that I thought was super cool is you can make it look like it was delivered by FedEx by getting some, like going online and getting some FedEx looking envelopes or a real one and then drop it at their door as if FedEx did it. Really cool. Like you paid $30.
So I'm wondering the time between setting the appointment and taking the packet.
We
Dropping it off. The time. Like,
right away, especially if you've had that conversation that day. We have listing packets. All of us carry 3 listing packets, 3 buyer packets. So we're ready to go at any time. And sometimes it's, hey, Janice, you're up in Highland you know, Highland Heights, can you drop it off for me? Please, I've got a listing, so get somebody else. I do a little note card where I say, you know, Sarah and Tom, it was so nice talking to you. I'm looking forward to seeing you next Wednesday at 3 o'clock. Business card in there, and it's got a little handwritten note. Yeah. I mean, it makes, again, you're setting yourselves up for really, you're just different from most people. Some people are still going to do pre-lists. So you may not be the only one, but majority aren't. So you look different. So you don't have to review it because it's not about you. Hopefully they don't have any questions. And if they do, obviously talk to them about it, objections and questions. Doesn't eliminate the need. And is it a primer for education? Yeah, it's also hopefully to stop, especially first-time sellers, from asking you all the details about what if, what happens, what is. You've got a flow chart, and it's something that they can just look at, and I'll ask you specific questions as you dig in. Okay, so as you prepare your pre-list, you're going to deliver the packet. Don't know why my thing is suddenly going. You're going to confirm the appointment dates. Yeah, I'm plugged in. Confirm the appointment, the date, the time, and the location, and don't forget to use your calendar and put it, you do it via email. Again, it's going to make you look really professional. Ensure all decision makers attend. That's so important. So I will say, so Kim, am I meeting just you, or is there someone else also that I'm going to be meeting? Okay, fantastic. And what's his name? Okay, so I'm really looking forward to seeing you and Tom. Would you like me to send Tom a calendar reminder also?
Yeah, just send me up.
Okay, super. What's his email? Blah, blah, blah. Fantastic. Okay, I'm sending you an email now. It should appear in 5 minutes. You'll have the calendar invite.
We're in 1511.
Oh, page number 1511. I thought that's your place number. I'm like, oh, she lives at number 1511. If anybody wants to go practice. Okay, complete and practice your listing presentation. Who practices their listing presentation regularly? We do. And who should you be practicing it on? Yep. Who else? Yes. Yourself. Yep. Record yourself. Play yourself back. See what you're good at, what you need help with. Because the more you practice, the easier it's going to just roll off your tongue, right? Same with objections. You have to go in, especially when you're newer. I used to remember that panic you feel where you're like, oh God, they're going to ask me something I don't know. Don't feel that. Okay, because the best answer is, that's a great question. Let me find that out for you if you really don't know. Or go in with the mindset, they're going to ask me a question, I'm going to know the answer. I know what I'm talking about. Like, ooh, that bold. Click your little bold thing and you're ready for the questions. Usually it's just your panic and fear when they say, I've got a question for you, and you're going, oh my God. It's usually that. It's actually a question you can answer. So if you just have the mindset of I can answer any question, I can answer any question, probably going to have an answer for it. So let them ask questions. A lot of the listing appointment is all about you asking them lots of questions. So expect some back. Review the lead sheet. I don't know what that is, but it sounds like could be part of that pre-questionnaire. And arrive to the listing presentation in a professional manner. What's a professional manner? Yep.
One time.
On time. Be early. Be early or be on time. Don't be 1 minute late. Prepared. Ooh, what do you prepare? So what's going in to prepare for the listing appointment?
Knowing everything you can find about that property. Being prepared with like knowing who's going, you text them, you go like a lot of things that we hear and have paperwork with you so they can sign on the spot.
So Janice is saying, be prepared with everything that you know or can find about that property. So let's talk about this, because I think this is one of the ways that you can really dig deep. So we had the conversation with them about their house. We figured out their personality. Did we ask for clues? Yeah, we should have. Have you asked the question that sometimes they laugh at you, but if you ask it early, you might get a really good clue. How much do you think your house is worth? So Janice, how much do you think your house is worth? Usually she's going to say, yeah, that's why I hired you. That's why I'm interviewing you. But that was your attempt to find out what that mindset is. Okay. What's another way that you can figure out what they may be thinking their house is worth? The biggest clue in the world, and it begins with Z. Zestimate. So I suggest you do this at the appointment, not at the pre-listing conversation. And this is something that I believe every homeowner suddenly likes and trusts you. So you sit down, you're like Janice, you found the last time they bought it. So that was the last time it was on the MLS. Not every house is on the MLS. You might have to go into the tax records and see that they bought it directly from the builder. There's nothing on it because they bought a slab of a piece of land and then built, okay? So find out what you can, pull up the tax records, make sure that the tax records are printed, one copy for you, one copy for them, pull up the Zestimate. Just look and see what it is and look and see how the Zestimate looks. Because in their head, they probably looked at it, but you haven't confirmed it yet. And they probably think that's what their house is worth. Maybe. If you're the first agent in, that's probably what they think. So having their kind of mindset is a really good clue for you. So take that Zillow's estimate and usually pull it the day before or the day of. The other thing to look at is the old MLS. If you have it, I want you to be ready to go through that. The tax record, I want you to be ready to go through that. And the Zestimate are all three things that can be really good icebreakers when you're sitting down with the clients. Because usually the first thing you do is walk around the house. Who first goes in, develops a little bit of rapport, and then walks around the house with the clients? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, Bold taught us to do it without the client. I'm not a fan of that. I like to walk around the house with the client. And I think the most important thing is to be really enthusiastic, not overly enthusiastic about something really horrid, like that horrible shag green carpet that's, you know, got cat pee stains all over it, but to be really, really, they want someone excited that wants to sell their house. If you're sitting there saying or moaning or not liking things, they're probably not going to hire you. They're probably not. Because how many times have you been to a listing appointment where they told you we didn't like the other 2 realtors? They didn't like my house. You don't have to like every house, but you can find good things to kind of bolster that relationship and to gain that rapport, because the rapport is important. So I was back at the listing appointment. Sorry, I'm all over the place. So we do the listing walkthrough. I recommend you do that, because you also kind of break the ice and get to know a little bit more about their personalities. And you also get to see something that might really change the price of the comps that you bought when you've got like a tandem bedroom and only 1 half bath on the 2nd floor.
Do you do your listing walkthrough with the homeowner, or?
We just talked about that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know. Most people said they do it with the homeowner, and we talked about Diane Kokoska, and I kind of don't do it without them. In a way, it almost seems a little bit awkward. So those of you that do without the homeowner for the sake of doing it quickly and spending less time going, ooh, wow, look, that's okay. Continue doing it. If it's working for you, it works for you. Depends on your personality. Are you? Yeah, I would offer, usually they'll say, do you want to walk around? Or I say, oh, I'd love for you to show me around, but just move them along, you know, because otherwise your listing appointment can go from 1 hour to 2 hours. And if you don't get that one sign, that's 2 hours that you could have been doing something else. Okay, so I'm going to start with the number 3, the clues, because I was talking about this. So you've got this estimate, you've got the tax records, and you've got the old MLS or the old MLS expired because it didn't work, they didn't successfully sell, or the old MLS rental because they ended up renting it and they didn't want to. So find the most recent thing, get your information, because you know, you've learned a lot about them if they had to rent it. You've learned a lot about them if they've expired 7 times. They may not be on the same page with pricing as the market is dictating. So the clues are important. And I'll say to my sellers, hey, I want to ask you something. Where do you look for houses? Because, you know, most of the time they're looking for another house. So where are you looking for houses? And most of the time they're going to say Zillow. And you say Zillow. Oh, hey, I'm curious. Do you know what the Zestimate is on your house? And I pretend that I don't know. And a lot of the times they say, yep, I checked it this morning. It's just gone down. It's just gone down. Oh, they'll say, it's so low. Or, yeah, it's really high. Like they'll give you some clues on what their thoughts are around this estimate. So then I pull out this estimate and I go, oh, it's 372. Pause. Wait for them. They're usually going to tell you whether they like it or they don't. Okay. If you hear them say, oh my gosh, it's so low, then you can be like, well, listen, if you hire me or not, I'm going to give you something that's really going to help you with your Zestimate. Because let me tell you, the Zestimate is neither right, wrong, low or high. It's just a perception of value. And in actual fact, it's not accurate at all, but it could be spot on. It's just a perception to the buyer of what your house could be worth. So if your house has a Zestimate at 372 and you're pricing your house at 360, the buyer's going to think before they meet their realtor that slaps them around the face and says, don't look at this estimate. They're going to think that house is priced right. It's below what it's worth. Now, if you've got a Zestimate that's really, really high, really, really low, and you know that your house is worth 450, I'm going to tell you what I would do, whether you hire me or not, to get that Zestimate kind of up. And they'll say, oh, wow, can I actually, you know, manipulate the Zestimate? No, not really, because there's no rhyme or reason as to whether it goes up or down. Really, truly, there isn't. You all know, right, that it's based upon Seattle market 0.004% of being correct. In fact, the person that was hired for Zillow to do Zestimates isn't there anymore. He's either left or moved on or something, because it didn't work, right? If it had worked, Zillow Offers would probably still be in business because they were using this estimate. So say to your clients, I want you to basically own the house. And they'll say, what does that mean? Say, go to Zillow, claim your house. And what you need to do is put in the things that you know you've done to the house. So yeah, you've got a 2-car garage, not a 2 spaces. You've got central air. It says here that you don't have any central air, because a lot of the time the Zillow's estimate has nothing in there. But if you find one that's really fully, everything's in there, when they updated the roof, that they added the bathroom, they probably have been looking at Zillow for a long time, maybe even trying to sell on Zillow. There may be photos. Again, you know the clues of the types of people they are. They're really, really on it and on top of it, or they're not. But either way, you're giving them the ability to do something for themselves. And then they'll say to you, well, what happens when I list? Does this estimate matter? And it's like, well, you know, the higher this estimate goes in this great market, the better it's going to look. But once I list your house, you know, don't worry, this estimate doesn't really come into play. We have a list price and we have decided what that price is based upon the market and the comps. So they like that you've given them something. I hand them that Zillow thing and I say, go for it, claim your house. All right, then the tax records. I always go through and say, I just want to make sure you've got 2 bedrooms, 1/2, basement is a crawl space. It looks like you have, you know, and then you'll see if they disagree with something. No, I have 700 square feet that we finished in the 3rd floor. Okay, that's great. That's additional square footage. I'll note it here, but it might not be part of your square footage because that's only, you know, floors 1 and 2. No, I have a walkout basement. No, I added, you get to hear from them what they think is wrong. And then the other part is to go back to the MLS, especially if you're competing against the agent that sold them the house, and point out all the things that were wrong. Because then you can say, oh, it looked as if, oh, really? Okay. So you didn't really have a true full bathroom in the basement. It was something that was made to look like a full bath. You know, you can see things and go, oh, you know, on the listing before, yeah, it didn't have room measurements. Yeah, we make sure that you have your precise room measurements with our floor plans. oh, okay, and yeah, describe it. I don't know what, I don't know what room that is because it's not labeled. Okay, yeah, we make sure we label all of our photographs. So you're just kind of inserting the things that you do, again, looking like you know what you're doing and you're paying attention to the details. You want to create a great impression to build their confidence. And I would say they're pretty confident. They've walked around with you. They like you. You showed up. You went over am I good? You went over the information about their house and they already feel like you're really vested in it and you like their house. Even if you don't like their house, you're able to put your real estate hat on and talk about the things that are going to be well received about their home. It's a ranch. It's on a cul-de-sac, great school system. I know that this will appeal to a lot of buyers, empty nesters, first-time home buyers, a whole range of buyers would be interested. Pricing it with the sellers, you need that buy-in. So I am all about pricing is between you and them doing it together, because remember, when you're interviewing to go on a listing, your goal is to come away with a listing agreement at a price at which they're happy and you can sell it. There's two other things. They may not choose to hire you because they may not like what you have to say, and they may not like the price that the market is telling them it's worth. And guess what? Number three, you may not want to work with them. So there are three things that you're going to that listing appointment for. It's to hopefully decide you want to work together and price the house to sell it and for everybody to be happy. But there's a chance that they're going to have pie in the sky, ridiculous numbers, and you're just not going to be on the same page. So it's your goal to find that out at this listing appointment. It's all about them. Make sure you are the consultant and ask a lot of questions about them and their motivation. So does every seller want to get a highest price? What other things do sellers want? Sorry, I'm going to go back because I can see you all looking at this.
Speed.
Price, speed. So for some people, it might be getting somewhere in the least amount of time, right? So it's not necessarily price. What else? We talked about it with Open Door. Convenience. For some people, it's, I don't care about the price, but I know that I'm not here in town and I want it to be the easiest as is sale. And I'm not bringing in people to do repairs. And I want really cash offers. I mean, great, we all do, but that's what you're excited about. Yeah. So what's important to you, Mr. Seller?
I just sold one that they did not accept the highest offer. They accepted the offer that gave them the most confidence that it would go through and close.
Yeah.
So the best lender they looked at, the title company they looked at, the earnest money they looked at, it was terms.
Yeah. Terms. So terms, conditions, price. And you
Can I
want
jump in, Amanda?
Yes, please do.
In addition to convenience about the offer, a lot of sellers are looking for convenience for the actual getting out of the house. So, oh, I've got a connection to someone that does tag sales. I've got a junk removal connection, things that feel, particularly the more distressed or the longer they've been there, kind of the bigger the mountain they have to climb in getting out. If you're able to at least make connections that would help make that easier, that can be a big deal.
Yeah. Somebody said, I think it was Janice said, I'm the resource for all of these places and I have the recommendations. Your local list of people you trust that, guess what, has changed in 2021 and 2022 because half the people you used to trust don't show up anymore. They're not in business anymore. That's a huge value add for the clients. Thank you. And that's something that you can hook them really quickly. Your first conversation on the phone when they say, oh, I want to have you over, Janice, but it's going to be in 2 weeks because we've still got to find a fence guy and we're still looking for the waterproofer. There's some things that you can immediately say, I have a list of people. I can help you with that. Let me come over so that I can see who on my list is best suited for what you're looking for. Don't worry about the house. Don't worry about how it looks like. I promise you, I'm just looking for what the house will be worth and what's the best things that we can do to get you the highest price and best conditions for you. So just let me in. Let me in. A lot of questions and their motivation. So 40%. So what do sellers want? 40% of sellers, and this might be contrary to that pie chart that I've never seen before. 40% of sellers want help marketing to buyers and finding the buyer. The timing of the sale, I don't know what that means. So I guess the timing of the sale, like Mark said, is very important to a lot of people. Pricing the home, a lot of sellers need help in pricing the home and help maximizing the net by looking at the condition, staging, updating. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what is important to you? So that's finding the motivation. So Leah, we're sitting here today and I know you told me you want to get to Florida to be with your grandkids by Thanksgiving, right? So can I ask you, Leah, what's the most important thing? Is it the timing? Is it the price? Or is it some terms like being able to stay and pack your house so that you have that flexibility?
I would say at this point, it would be
The price, okay. So knowing the motivation helps you with the close because you want to say and do everything to keep that motivation top of mind. So she had said, I really want to see my grandkids because my daughter's having another baby in December. Then I know her motivation is getting to where her grandkids going to be born. And that might make me use it differently as I'm doing not only the listing, but as I'm negotiating things for her when the offers come in, because you want to understand. The other thing is, how do I communicate with you? So what's your name?
I'm Daniel.
So Daniel, like, can you tell me what's the best way for me and you to communicate? What do you like best? Do you like phone calls? Are you a texter?
Probably
What about emails? You like emails? Okay. Because a lot, and some people will say, Janice is like, screw the emails. I don't look. That's another thing. Like, okay, so what I'm hearing from you, Janice, is you don't check your email very regularly. And, you know, we want to make sure that every step of the way you're communicated with. So I'm going to make sure that texting is another way that we reach out to you, just in case you're not checking your emails as regularly. We'll follow it up with a text. Okay, the 3 Ps, this is from Place. So collaborative preparation. You only have one chance for a great impression. The best part about hiring a realtor, and a lot of sellers are saying this when they first reach out to you, is I'm thinking of selling, I want to sell, but I know I'm not ready. Can you come take a look? Coming to take a look is basically, I need your expertise. Can you help me? Because I'm overwhelmed and I don't know how to get to the point where the for sale sign's in my yard. For a lot of them, it's so overwhelming. Think about all of the sellers you've had that are clearing out 50, 60 years worth of homes, or they don't want to move, or somebody's passed and they don't live there. And just think about how overwhelming it is. Have any of you sold your own house? Like put your house on the market and sold it?
Yeah.
How overwhelming is it when you finally get in to be a seller? It's a lot, isn't it? And we just like, oh yeah, we've got this, we've got you. I mean, I think the confidence factor is, don't worry about anything. I've got this, you know, I've got this. That is a really good thing for your sellers and your buyers that are feeling a little, you know, less confident, agitated, or just overwhelmed. You know, I've got this, but you also want to be able to understand where they're coming from, because for a lot of people, this is a very, very difficult process, very overwhelming. You can look at one house and 4 weeks later, it's ready to go on the market because the sellers do everything that you ask them to do to prepare it. And then you walk away from other houses and they'll never be ready, and they're still not ready. And that's difficult because, you know, I want you to take advantage of this great market, but sometimes moving them along is very, very difficult, even with the list of resources to help them. They have to really want it, right? And some people just don't. Even if the price is there. When the price has been there in the last 2 years, I would say a lot of people that didn't want to move fast or quickly have done so. Some of them, though, just don't prepare, and then the house shows messy or unprepared, and that will affect the price. Positioning your home in the marketplace. So that is really, really important. At Place, we call the 555. That is the actual listing appointment where you're going through the 5 most likely actives, 5 solds that are most like the house, and the 5 pendings or under contract. Those are important because that's where you become the expert and you're showing them what's been going on in the market. And I would say for this market, we're in October, you can only really go back to August, September, October. That's it, the market of 3 months. So you come prepared with your 5, and sometimes it's not 5. You might not have 5 actives. It might be 3. You might not have 5 pendings. It might be only 2, but get what you can that's similar in the neighborhood so that you can go over the comps. And it's really easy to then talk to them and say, let's put your buyer hat on. You're not the seller anymore. Pretend you're the buyer. Okay. So your house compared to these 2 that are on the market. What do you think of that one? Here's the photos. Oh, the photos are terrible. Yeah, they don't look so good. Somebody used a cell phone. Okay, yeah, I don't know where that room is. I think it's on the 3rd floor. Wish they would label their photos. Just point things out as they are giving you that feedback on the listings. And then, so Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if you had to buy your house or one of these 2, which one would you buy? Most of the time, they're going to say their house. You know, what do you think about the pricing? Oh my gosh, you know, so high priced. They'll never get that in the neighborhood. Good clue. Then when you're going into the solds, again, be specific and understand and know what market you're comparing it to. So don't go back to the beginning of this year because the comps are all wrong. It's more like the market of before 2020, before COVID. It's more like a 2019 market. And then the most important, I always say to my sellers, the most important ones are the ones that actually got picked in the last 30 days. These are your true comps. Even though we don't know what they ended up with, we can tell from market time and we can tell for how quickly they went under contract, whether they were priced right. We can tell from the broker's comments, whether it said highest and best by Sunday at 5. So we know those are the ones that got picked. So those are the ones that are really giving us a true idea in this market. You know, for sales, wishful thinkers. They might get the price, they might not. Solds, great. They give us the comps. Mr. Appraiser loves the solds because he's going to need them if there's a financed offer. But really, truly, these are the ones that just got picked and they're in your neighborhood and they're within the same amount of time. They're within probably 30 days, usually, contingents and pendings. So these are the ones we really need to concentrate on. Which one do you think you're most like? Well, this one has a better bathroom. Yeah, you're right. That bathroom's more updated than yours. But we have a sunroom. Yes, you do. But did you see that one has a fully fenced yard and it's on half an acre? You've only got the 0.25. You know, make sure you point those things out because they're putting their buyer hat on. They're going to play buyer. Okay, strategic pricing. Anybody in here have any thoughts around pricing? I call it smart pricing, and I'll tell you what that means. But do you guys use any of those words? Strategic, smart? You want to know my smart pricing?
Yes.
Okay. So smart pricing is getting a house priced such that when people search online on some of the top websites, Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia, whatever, that you are actually getting 2 pools of buyers because you're pricing it at a price at which people usually search by. So people usually search by, so let's just say 300. So they're going to search by 275 to 300, 300 to 325. So if I have a smart price of 300, I'm going to appear highest or lowest, depending on how my search is made up, on 2 searches. So 2 prospective pools of buyers, the ones whose high price point is 300 and the ones whose lowest price point is 300. And then my listing is going to appear in two, I'm not saying it well, in 2 searches. You should, yes, 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 yes. So when people say 299 or 300, pick 300. And then some people are going to say, but it's got the 3 on it. Yeah, in some cases, the 3 is going to put people off. You're right. Especially if you're at the high end for a house, you know, where houses normally are 250 or something. But most of the time, smart pricing is going to encourage 2 pools of buyers, and your sellers therefore get more eyes on it. More eyes on it means more click-throughs. More click-throughs means more saves. More saves means more calls to the realtor or to Zillow to say, I want to go in that house. Because ultimately getting them through the front door, that's the real test on whether their house is being rejected or accepted in this market. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there are only 3 reasons why your home won't sell. It's either price, condition, or exposure. My guarantee to you is you will never have to wonder or question if it's an issue with marketing or exposure should your home not sell. I make that clear because I go in there with the best marketing, the best presentation, meaning for their home, you know, only have one chance to make a great first impression. And I feel confident in everything that I've got going on the back end. So that where their house is showing up, how it's showing up, everything that's on it that appears to other agents to make their job easy. Yes, it does have a 1st floor master bedroom. Yes, this is a den on the 2nd floor. You're labeling your photos, you're putting out floor plans, you're making it easy with videos, Matterport. Your photos are crisp and beautiful because they'll draw the buyers in 92% of the time. So it's really easy to say, and if the house doesn't sell, this is all about the price. So the price is the most important thing. And we need to price it at a price for this market where they're going to come in 10 to 12 showings in the first week or so. And from that, we're going to get an offer or more. Because in some cases, you're still getting multiple offers. But if you're pricing it right and the expectations are correct between you and your clients, you're going to sell the house. You are. There's no way it won't sell.
Everyone should take a picture of this screen because it is not in our book.
Yeah, I added this, sorry.
Okay, that's a good idea to take a picture of it.
So actually, one of the benefits of my strategy and hiring me is it allows you as the seller to be more aggressive than most because you're confident that you're going to prepare that house for a high price sale, right? Because you're going to do everything you possibly can so that the sellers get top dollar if that's what's important to them. As you know, if for some reason your home isn't selling, it isn't marketing or condition. So the only conversation left to have is price. So you know what they think because they commented on Zillow. They think this estimate's too low. You've got a clue. They sit there and say that the other listings that are on the market are dogs compared to them. They look at what's sold and they like the prices because we're coming off of a very hot seller's market. So they're probably going to like what they see. But the ones that just went under contract in the last 30 days, which are really representative of the market, they took 14, 21 days. And they're saying, oh my gosh, that was only 250. Wow, Sarah down the street got 270 for hers. There's your clue that the price is where you need to really kind of hone in. So keep asking questions. So what do you think? What do you think is better about that house that sold for better about your house than the one that sold for 250? The 250 had a master on first with an attached bathroom and it was remodeled. Yours has still got green tile. It had a finished basement, which, you know, if you ask what the cost of a finished basement is, could be 10 to 15,000. Yours has an unfinished. So, you know, let's talk about that. What do you think? And then if you know you've got a house with a seller who's just a little bit off, I've said, hey, listen, I'd love to be wrong. The market's telling me that it looks as if your house should be priced around 260. Buyers from 240 to 260, 260 to 280, they're going to find it. And it looks as if with the way the market is, it's going to probably sell in about 21 days. However, you want 275. So what I'm going to tell you is, you know, the 275, yep, it's a smart price, 250, 275, 275, 300. That's fine. I like that. It shows me though, that the one that priced at, that started at 300, that then dropped to 280 and then eventually got 240. It took 3 months and they actually got, you know, 84% of list and they reduced twice. So if if you feel really strongly, and I get it, you know, I'm in real estate, so I look at the market data and interpret it for you. And it's my goal for us to work together and pick a price, you know, that I know I can sell it at and that you're comfortable with. But, you know, if you want to, if, you know, if I'm going to be wrong, and I love it when you make me wrong, then we can push the price, but let's only do it for a week. And let's see what the market's response is. So the market should give us, you know, 10 to 12 showings in the first week. And if we don't get those showings, there's got to be something wrong with the price, because it's not going to be the marketing. It's not going to be the presentation. I promise you that. But if we are seeing online that it's not getting saved, and even worse, they're not coming through the door, they're rejecting the price. And that's all it is. And I want to get you top dollar. I want to get you to Florida so you can go meet your granddaughter. And I don't want that higher price to really affect the outcome for you, so that you sit on the market for 3 to 4 months and ultimately get far less than the 250 or the 260 that I recommend. So do they want to push it once in a while? Yeah, they do. Just put them on a time limit. Write it into the listing contract. Say, you know, seller agrees to reduce price to 260 on November 1st. Try it. That way they tried it. You know how it is. Like, if I never tried it, I never knew. Okay. In real estate, we're like, oh no. But in life, okay, yeah, let's try it. Let's push it. I want to be wrong. Come on, let's do this.
I just recently saw in broker's comments, a house that had just come down in price. And the wording was excellent. It was something to the effect that, we,
Sellers listened to the market,
right, it was something that
smart sellers.
came down.
I say,
What I had not. to what
Yeah.
I had told them, but it was worded perfectly.
I love that.
It was like, oh my gosh, yeah, 'cause then you know it was a buyer that just, or seller that just wanted to.
Yeah. but be,
Recommended price.
oh, really? That's a bold statement.
Yeah.
Very bold.
Right away, exactly what they meant, that.
Be humble that this market, nobody knows exactly what a house is going to sell for, because what a house sells for is what a buyer is willing to pay and the seller is willing to sell it. So we're not always right. And I love it when I'm wrong. I tell stories of when I'm wrong. I'm like, and then always tell the story too. I forgot to say, have stories ready to go. Always tell the story of it. If it doesn't work, Janice, we'll reduce it to 260. You know, the other day we had the same thing. The sellers wanted to push the price. We went to about $10,000 over where my recommended price was. And then after a week, we dropped it. And guess what happened? 3 people wanted it and it went over asking, and they almost got the original price. So I love it when that happens. I want to be wrong. So if you want to try it for a certain amount of time, no more than a week, the market is forgiving, but not over a week, not with this market. Yeah. Like, make it the market. It's always the market's fault. It's always the market. It's a person. They're talking to you. The market's telling me that. Yeah. The market reported, it's not you. Remember, when nobody's buying my house. Well, the market data shows us that. Okay, next screen. Negotiating. One of the most important reasons you should choose to work with an agent is their ability to negotiate on your behalf. Our homes are typically, I wrote this, by the way, our homes are typically one of the largest financial assets we have, and yet I often see sellers hire ill-prepared negotiators to fight for their equity and money when it comes time to sell. This is critically important to who I am and ultimately why my clients hire me. Over the past 12 months as a team, and then this is where your little show-off sheet, your little realtor checklist, we have averaged over 104% list price to sales price ratio. What does that mean? On average, my sellers need to come down less than 1% from their list price to get their homes sold. The area average is close to 96%. So ultimately, I'm netting my clients almost 3% more, which in your case is close to 12,000. This is an example. What does it mean? Compare yourself to the market. I outpace the market. Write that down. I outpace the market. If you sold one house and you sold it over asking and you sold it in 2 days, you outpace the market. I outpace the market because you want them to feel confident in you and your list to sell ratios and your days on market and your smart pricing and your presentation. And now it's all about how great you are at negotiating. Anybody can come right out of Hondros and be an expert negotiator, because for all I know, you were a negotiator in your past job. You could have 10 years of negotiation and sales experience. There you go. Didn't say that it wasn't in real estate. It's fine. Negotiation goes well beyond the price. Guys, this is important. This is your point of differentiation for every seller that you're in front of. From contact to close, there are 5, 6, or 7 times negotiating comes into play. I'm going to negotiate on your behalf before the buyer or agent even writes up the offer, when they call me and talk about it, because you're trying to create urgency. You're trying to create anything you can to get that offer. If there's an objection, so Kim says, oh, my buyer loves it, but he just didn't like the fact that it has carpeting still on the 2nd floor. Kim, write us an offer. Put in some kind of carpet credit. Put in what your buyer's looking for. We'll negotiate. Just give me the offer. Write the offer. We can take it from there. I love doing deals with you. Come on, we've got this. I'm going to negotiate on your behalf when they write the offer and the agent presents it to us, because when they present offers, there's certainly things that come through that either aren't done well, or maybe we have questions about it. That lender, I've never heard of that lender. Can you tell me more information? Janice, have you successfully done deals with that lender? Yes, she says. It's my cousin's best friend and we use them all the time. They just happen to be based in Michigan. I am going to negotiate on your behalf when it comes time to responding to the offer and potentially countering. Understanding, especially in this market, about going back and asking for highest and best, and asking one versus all of them, and putting highest and best for everybody to kind of all, blow up on each other. Understanding how to present what your seller can do with multiple offers is important. So I'll usually say, so Crystal, there's 3 things that we can do, okay? You've got 4 offers. We could go back to all 4 and say, look, you've got tomorrow, 6 o'clock to give us your highest and best. But I'll be honest with you, Crystal, how would you feel if you were one of those 4? Do you think that you might present a higher offer when you've already been waiting 3 days and you feel like you've written your highest? We might lose one of them. It's not uncommon for someone to say, I'm not bidding against, whoever, without any idea of how high they're going to go. I'm out. And I say, the second thing is, you can love one of these offers and any time you can accept it. So if there's an offer that you love and we haven't put a highest and best, Crystal, you can love that cash offer that just came in. It's got exactly the terms. You can just take the offer. Or you can look at all these offers and you can say, well, I actually really like that offer, but that timing doesn't work for me. And I can go back to that one offer and say, okay, Janice, your offer looked really super. The sellers were really, really happy. I have a question for you. Can your buyer close before the end of the year, or does he really need until end of January? And then that means the seller can negotiate with just the one and accept the terms and not go into highest and best, because highest and best isn't always highest and best for the seller. How many of you have had a highest and best where more than one dropped out and you were like panicking? We had it. We had it where we were just left with like one. Luckily, it was still the highest. But they 3 of them dropped out. And you know how it is. Agents sometimes influence the buyers, and some buyers are like, no, I'm not doing this. It's like, it's 2022. What market do you think you're in? This is what it was, right? It was like that. You couldn't really avoid it. I am going to negotiate on your behalf when they counter back or bring up terms of the offer outside of even price. So that's things like, I just sold a house that they didn't want the septic inspected. And Giaga said, you don't have to do septics anymore. No more inspections. So guess what? They took the offer that didn't touch or even look at the septic. That's the one they wanted, because they knew that their septic was probably the year that the house was built. So again, if that's what the sellers want and they are feeling, I don't want inspections, I don't want eyes on my house, I don't want somebody coming back in my house, you're going to negotiate that for them. I'm going to negotiate on your behalf when they have their inspections and want costly repairs done. So we're back to removals of contingencies. Oh boy. Why? Weren't they the worst part and now they're back again? But in a way, they should be, because there was a lot of waived inspections that I think a lot of buyers might have got themselves into some tricky situations with their new homes. Am I doing okay with time? I'm going to negotiate on your behalf when the appraisal is scheduled and meet the appraiser because we need to get a certain value. That's important. That's one of your, you can write that on your realtor checklist. You know, you get me, I'm your agent. I'll show up for the inspections and the appraisals. That's a value that you're adding because that's who you are and that's how you do your business. I'm going to negotiate on your behalf when the buyer gets nervous at the end of the deal and wants to change terms or ask for a closing cost credit. I mean, home buyers and sellers, I don't care what happens, ease, convenience, price, they always need a human realtor on their side to negotiate for them. More than ever, I believe. So remember that. Don't discount your commissions, know your worth. As you can see, there are countless points of negotiation along the way, and every single one of them matters. Okay, so I had a questions, but it was about the listing appointment, which I've kind of gone through it already. This is one of your quotes from your book. I am knowledgeable and caring and the best agent for these clients. They will appreciate my expertise and preparation and choose me to represent them as they sell their house. And then I wrote, I will use the 5-5-5 approach using data to do the heavy lifting. Understand the market you're in. I think more than ever, that's your expertise showing up. This market is really, really going to be challenging. So you be the expert. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't really need that.
So we can take the last couple of minutes then.
So how has your thinking changed on your mindset around listings? How do you feel differently? What will be some behaviors and what tools, models, and systems will you use? So why don't you all jump in and tell us what you learned or what you might do differently? Because I hope this was helpful.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have any questions or ahas? Anybody online?
Actually, I mean, claiming your house on Zillow, I didn't realize you could do that. essentially.
Only yours, yours.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Telling the client, claim the house, and then input information that may or may not have value, but it gives them maybe something.
Well, you said whether you hire me or not. And in a way, that humbleness, I like the humbleness. Some people might say, don't ever say or not, because that's a negative, but I will always say whether I say it early on. So I say whether because they're more likely to not want to hire me early on because they haven't got to know me. As I get through it, I'm more confident and I want to go for the close, but whether you hire me or not, I want to give you something that's really going to help you. The buyer's perception of value is that this house is worth 370 and it's 500. So I want you to make sure you claim your house and put everything that you've done to it and all the updates, because Zillow doesn't know. They're just pulling it off the tax records and just think it's a 3-bedroom, 1.5. They don't know what you've done. It'll help, and the buyer's perception of value will go up. So it's helpful. All right, guys, anybody online? Otherwise, I will sign off and thank you for being online. All 9 of you. All right. All right, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.